Welcome to another short video with Chris Adams at Maths Unlocked with Mr. Adams. I was having lunch with my children just a short while ago and started having a conversation with my son. He turned 6 this week about negative numbers. And he's had a couple of misconceptions that he's picked up at primary and brought home. And so we're simply asking him to compare which numbers are bigger than which. It was a no-brainer to him that 7 is larger than 2. He was equally happy with the fact that 5 was bigger than -3. I was quite impressed that he was comfortable with the notion that 6 is bigger than -20, which I thought might throw him. But the one that develops beyond that, which of course was the one I was trying to trick him up with to see what he came back with, was which is bigger, -1 or -5. And of course, at that point is when he then fell into my trap of thinking that -5 was bigger than -1. Very, very common misunderstandings. And of course, even at secondary school now with year 8s, year 9s, year 10s, even some year 11s, it's a concept that they find difficult. And I think it's because when you move into secondary school, it's so common for people to move away from a number line. You know, we kind of think, well, that's something that it only exists at primary school. And of course, the reality is that when you don't understand a secondary mathematical concept, the best way to develop that sense of understanding is not to learn rules. It's not to learn that 2 minuses make a plus, because there are so many variations and exceptions. And this notion of an exception that proves the rule is ridiculous to me. If there's an exception, then there is no rule. So going back to that number line idea, my son was very confident with the location of 0. He was very clear that positive numbers went to the right, all the way up to plus infinity, he tells me. And then he's even confident on the notion that going to the left of 0, you then introduce your negative numbers, -1, -2, -3. So once he had that visualization in his head and he understood that the larger numbers were further down the right-hand side of the number line, then it became quite straightforward to say, well, where is -1? Where would you place -5? And then visually, of course, he could simply see that -1 was a larger number than -5. If people are struggling with the concept of negative numbers, always just remember, go back to the visualization of your number line. It's incredibly helpful. And don't think that just because you reach secondary age, it's simply not relevant for you anymore. That's where the misunderstandings are introduced and where confusion comes when people simply try to learn rules. Don't do it. Stick with the basics.